boys and girls, Miss Kathy here from Shaler North Hills Library, and this is the activity section of Magic Treehouse number 4, Pirates Past Noon. And we are going to, first up on the list, make our own treasure map. Now, some of this I had to do ahead of time. You have all the directions if you printed them out or picked up the copy from the library of activities. So I took a plain white piece of paper and I ripped the edges, did not cut, but ripped, and then I crimpled it all up in a ball, which gave it kind of that wrinkled look. And then I poured some coffee, and it actually still smells like coffee, onto it and spread it around and let that sit and soak in for a few minutes. And then I took a hair dryer to it and blew it dry to get all that moisture off of there. And now we have this very nice dry sheet of paper that we are going to make a treasure map out of. And there was a sheet of clip art that you can use on your map included in your packet. So I have some of those cut out and colored, and I'm going to use them. I'm going to glue them onto my map. First thing is to start with, got my markers here, I'm going to start with a big red X somewhere on your map, which X, of course, marks the treasure and where it is. So you can make this look like someplace maybe in your yard or in your house so that you can actually go and hide something and give people directions to find it. Or you can just make one up on your own. We give you some ideas of what to call places on this top sheet. You can have a waterfall of doom, or you can have Skull Rock, or Monster Mountain. So, however you want to do it, I'm going to, let's see if I can put my board up against this pan here and draw on it while you are watching. So I'm going to have some water over here. This is going to be a made-up map. I'm going to show water on this side. So if somebody is trying to find the treasure, they have to sail to this desert island. Not desert island, deserted island. You can't really have a desert with no water and have an island that is surrounded by water, I don't think. Okay, here we have our water. Now we're going to have some green land coming down off of this water, giving an edge to it. So we have our green land there, and maybe we have our skull. I got a glue stick here and I'm going to glue on, set this down until I get my lid off my glue stick. I'm going to glue on my skull, which is a way you don't want to go, a skull and crossbones. I'm going to put that there. And I'm going to use up these other clip art things that I cut out and colored first before, oh, here, I'm going to put my ship over in the water so that I know that I have to sail to this location. That's how I know it's an island. You can't get to an island by walking because an island is completely surrounded by water. Huh. So I put my boat in the water. And then I cut out the picture of the treasure chest, and that's where X is going to mark, of course, the spot where the treasure and the gold coins are. So I put those things on first. Then I can draw some other things. Like if I want to have, I kind of like the sound of waterfalls of doom. I can have some water coming here and making a waterfall. There's a little bit. And there's a pond that it goes into at the bottom. And then I can take my black marker and label it so that people know that that is the waterfall of doom. I'm going to have to turn it around like this, though, to write on it. Waterfall of Doom. But you're probably pretty good at coming up with your own ideas too, as far as names for things. There we have our Waterfall of Doom. Now what else could we have on here? We could have a tree. Oh, how about a Tree of Terror? Can you see I've been thinking about Halloween too? So let's get out our marker here and make a tree. That's going to be the trunk of the tree. I guess we need some green on the top of our tree. Okay. Green tree, and then we're going to label this one. Who says you have to do all your writing in black? I'm going to use purple and label it Tree of Terror. I wonder what other things we could put on our map. Of course, you can take a little bit longer than I am to do this. You can always stop the video and finish your map, or go through the whole video and then finish it up later on. Having some trouble spelling here. I know how to spell it, but my marker is not doing what I want it to do. Tree of Terror. Okay, then maybe we have one other thing. Oh, a serpent pass. I like the sound of a serpent pass. So maybe we'll make a tunnel here. It's supposed to look like a tunnel in the hillside. Make rocks at the entrance of the tunnel. And there in the tunnel is a big cobra. A serpent pass. And you can label that on there. And you can put whatever you want on your map. And like I said, I made this one up, but you can do yours of a real place in your house or yard and then give it to someone and see if they can read your map and actually find it. So that's one idea of something to do like a pirate would do. Then we have a pirate game to play, Pirate Ship Coordinates. Now I'm not going to play this game with you, but somebody at your house hopefully can. So this is kind of like Battleship. And you have different pirate ship pieces down here you would cut out and place on your board. And then I would call out B2, and you would tell me if it's a hit. If you put one of your ships in that spot, then you would have to say hit. But if none of your ship was there, if that spot was empty, then you would say miss, and I would make a note on mine. So you need a couple copies of this game board. You need one for each player. And then you can make your notes on another sheet of paper if you want to write down B2 was a miss, or you can write right on this paper, but since it doesn't have pegs like the real Battleship game, you're going to have to either write very lightly with pencil or print out a couple different copies of this. But you cut out these game pieces down below and you can place them up on the grid until you find and destroy all the pirate ships. Okay, then there was another game, Rounding Treasure Hunt. This one had a really cool game board and a lot of cards that you needed to cut out ahead of time. And each of these cards has a number on it, and you are supposed to move to the number. If you were to round this card to the nearest 10, what number would you move to? If you haven't learned about rounding yet, then maybe somebody at your house can help you with that. Maybe you just move to the next nearest spot that has the first number that matches the card. But if you did learn about rounding, then you know 23 rounds to what? Rounds to 20. So if you were just starting, you're starting on the map here, and you do have directions included. If you were just starting out, here's your skull and crossbones cards to put in. and you cut out all these other cards, and you can use anything you want for a marker. You move your marker. If the first one you picked up was 23, then you would move to a spot that says 20, because that's what you would round 23 to. Then maybe the next player picks up a card that says 15. Well, 15 rounds to 22. So you would both be on the 20 spot. And then you pick up a card that says 21. Well, 21 is going to round to 20 as well. But since you're already on this 20, you get to move ahead to the next 20. And so on like that. So you move around the board. This is the spot where you can put all your cards once they're cut out. And if you draw one of these skull and crossbone cards, I think you go to that next nearest skull and crossbones place. If a crossbones card is drawn, the player will head to the closest crossbones, even if it's behind him, so you may have to go back. And you must draw a card that would be rounded to 50, which is the last number, to win. So you have to keep drawing until you get 50. But I really like the game board on that and moving around. So that's another activity you can do. And now we're going to make our sensory bottle. And I have here a bottle that I cleaned out, just had some beverage in it. And the first thing we're going to do is add some stuff to this bottle. And I have all different kinds of stuff to add. You should gather up the stuff you want to add first. Sand is a good idea to dump down at the bottom. And I'm hoping this has a small opening on the top of this bottle. You can get bottles with bigger openings, or you could be smart and use a funnel. But Miss Kathy here is just going to hope that I can get this sand into this bottle. I'm not sure I'm going to use all of it, but I want to have some sand in the bottom because we're going to be able to shake this up. And then that's going to make all the sand shake up. But then when it lays in the bottom, after everything settles, we'll have a nice sandy bottom. Let me see how much sand I want in my bottle. Yeah, I can use a little bit more, huh? Use a little bit more in there. Don't want too much sand because we're going to put in other kind of cool stuff too. And I give you different suggestions of things to put in on the directions. Okay, we'll leave it go at that. Whole thing's pretty covered on the bottom. Okay, then any other stuff you want to add? So I've got some sparkly things I don't even know what they are, some little shiny pieces, some beads in various colors that I've picked out. And I'm going to take these and add them to my bottle. Anything that you want to add, that you would like to see floating around inside your bottle. You can put in. And I have other stuff too here. I have tiny little colored beads and some big blue beads. Well, they're really not beads, they're kind of like stones. Ooh, and they just fit through the top. And all these tiny little beads, so that when things are shook up, you get a lot of color swirling around in my bottle. That's what we're going for. A lot of colors and making it pretty. You can put as much stuff in as you want. I'm not going to make you sit there and watch me put in tons and tons of stuff, but I think some of it's kind of cool. Of course, I don't know what it's going to end up looking like when all is said and done. I think these beads are so tiny, I might just try to pour them in. Let's see if Miss Kathy can do this without spilling it all over the floor. This is where a funnel would come in very handy. But since I didn't think of that ahead of time, then we're just going to go very carefully. But you should have an adult help you if you have a small opening in your bottle like this. Or you can get a bottle that has bigger openings. That would be a smart idea too. Okay, let's see what other stuff we're going to put in here. Got all kinds of stuff. And, ooh, I have a bag of shiny beads. Put some of those in. Okay, I think we're getting a good amount of stuff in there for right now for what I want. So the very next thing after you get everything in there, I dropped something on the floor, but I can't see it. After you get everything in there that you think you want, then you're going to fill it up with water, and then we're going to add the food coloring or something to make it blue. So it looks like water. So I have this pitcher of water, which again, a funnel probably would have been a good idea, but I'm going to try to be very steady here and pour the water into the bottle. Now it's getting a little bit murky because the sand is getting shook up with it, I think. And it was regular sand, it wasn't anything fancy. But that's like when you go to the beach, huh? You get stuff with your sand kind of shook up. And then it'll settle to the bottom. I'm not going to fill it all the way up, right now at least. And then I have some colored sugar that I'm going to put in to make it blue because I have a lot of this sugar. And I wanted to use that instead of food coloring. But you can use anything that will make it blue. And it doesn't take a whole lot of food coloring or sugar to make it blue once you shake it up a little bit. So let's put the lid on really tight. You should use a hot glue gun when you've finally done all the stuff you want to put in it. Use a hot glue gun and secure it up top so it's not going to come open by accident on you. But I'm not going to do that right now. I'm going to shake this up a little bit, and then you can see everything swirling around inside there. You can shake it up as much as you want and watch the stuff float. And then as you can see, the sand is already starting to go down to the bottom. Some of the things will float. It's good to have some things that float up top, and others will slip down to the bottom. And sometimes they start up floating and then they change their mind and they go drifting down to the bottom. So you can put whatever you want in your sensory bottle. Little mermaids and things are cute too, but I didn't have any of those on hand. And there you go. And lastly, there was a maze to get through. Help Jack and Annie find the pirates so they can hunt for buried treasure, like on your treasure map. So the answer is down here in the corner, but try to do it without looking at the answer. You start over here and you have to finish up there. Okay, so those are some of the activities. Hopefully there's somebody around that you can go and play either one of the games with. You have to do a little bit of advanced prep on this one first, cutting out the cards, but it'll be fun to play once you get them cut out. And you have to cut out the pieces down below here too, and you need at least 2 copies of this so that each person has one. More if you want to play multiple games and mark up the game board. Otherwise you can keep track of things on a different sheet. But lastly, I'm going to leave you with some trivia questions. See if you can answer these. Jack and Annie could have used this hook and eye patch to help them blend in on what adventure? A hook and eye patch. What would they have blended in on? Which adventure? Midnight on the Moon, Pirates Past Noon, or Twister on Tuesday? Obviously, Pirates Past Noon, huh? In the book Pirates Past Noon, the evil Captain Bones forces Jack and Annie to help him find Captain Kidd's buried what? His buried A, treasure, B, diary, C, rowboat. Of course, it's his treasure, huh? We know they're looking for treasure. Jack and Annie survive their encounter with the evil pirate captain in Pirates Past Noon. What is one of the best ways to evade a pirate? That means to trick him and get away from him. A. Swan dive off the end of the plank and swim quickly to shore. B. Join the pirate's evil crew and start raiding ships. C. Challenge the captain to a sword fight. Ooh, I hope you don't challenge him to a sword fight. So I'm going to go with A. You could dive off the plank and swim to shore, and that would be one way of escaping him. On what body of water do Jack and Annie meet the pirates in Pirates Past Noon? A. The Caribbean Sea. B. The Atlantic Ocean. C. The Indian Ocean. You remember? It was A. The Caribbean. Okay, just a couple of trivia questions for you about our book, Pirates Past Noon. So I hope you enjoyed watching, and stay tuned next time for Afternoon on the Amazon. This has been Miss Kathy. Thanks for joining us. See you soon. Bye.